I'm at a job site, friends. We were doing our recon today, everybody. Hold on, friends. Let's see if we can do it like this. Friends, I'm literally. Hold on, everyone. Friends, I got a piece of cardboard. Friends, I just get the stinking job done. I don't like complainers. Nobody likes complainers, everybody. Hold on. All right, can everybody see now? Look, friends, look. Friends, I'm at the Bloomingdale Community Cemetery. Friends, this thing is literally... friends, this cemetery is literally like probably 3 miles from the home that I'm not allowed to go to. But friends, listen to me. We're just gonna friends, we're gonna cease all no more live stream talking about my family situation. Everybody, it's in God's hands. Friends, I literally got a piece of cardboard right here. Look, friends, I got a piece of cardboard and I had to put a hole in it so I could charge my phone while I could do this live stream. Friends, we're gonna cease and desist all more conversations about what the hell's going on personally in my life. Friends, God revealed to me when I was out here that He's got it. He's got me, friends. I mean, God is not. Friends, at some point, this evil is gonna leave my family alone. And right now, friends, the devil has tricked my mother. The devil's tricked my wife and her family. Out here in another cemetery, friends, and this one's a nice one. I already fell in love with it. There's a lot of soldiers out here. So, friends, we're just not gonna talk anymore about my personal situation, because, friends, I told you, God's got it under control. God's got it under control, friends. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna worry. I'm not gonna stress. I'm gonna be reunited with my children here in a couple weeks. But that's okay, friends. It's like God allowed. Listen, everybody. When you get spiritual and you fully understand that God is in control of everything, then you understand God allowed me to get arrested. God allowed me to go into jail for a couple of days. God allowed all this stuff to happen. God did not do this to me. God allowed the devil to trick these people to doing it. And these people probably thought maybe I would be vengeful and angry, but I'm not. I told you, these people have no idea who I am, and that's fine. You know, the Bible says you got to let people judge you by the fruits that you bear. Well, friends, unfortunately, a lot of these folks had a lot of wicked fruit, a lot of evil, a lot of hatred and anger. But I'm not angry, friends. I'm moving on with my life, friends. I've moved on. Okay, God is going to reunite me with my children. Yeah, I don't get to spend Christmas with them. But, friends, you know, if we want to be honest, I haven't really spent Christmas with my children ever, because, friends, I just don't want to get into it. You know, when you're in one of these type of relationships and marriages, it's a nightmare. You know, you're basically roommates, and the other person just couldn't turn the corner, and that's fine, friends. I don't have any anger or hatred. We're gonna leave it at that, friends. I'm gonna try not to do any more silly injunction videos, but, friends, you gotta understand this nightmare that I'm in. Well, friends, it's not even a nightmare. Friends, God is allowing all this to happen. And Tommy Shannon called me last night, and I talked to Tommy Shannon for 30 minutes on the phone when I was out to dinner with my friend. Friends, I'm not dating nobody now, but I have a friend that actually listens to me, that actually has gone through very similar situations. That was also in a marriage that just didn't work out for whatever reasons, you know, but it's all in God's plan, everybody. I'm moving on. I am not going to hold on to any more wicked fruit. I got 3 children with this lady. So whenever this injunction's tossed out, and God already told me friends, this injunction will not survive this temporary injunction will not survive the court on the 12th. It won't survive. It'll be tossed out. And God told me that I'm not to push anything. I'm just supposed to show up, and I pray to Jesus that this horrible detective don't come up with more shenanigans. But if he does, again, the Lord is in charge of everything, friends. So look, friends, I'm at it's called the Bloomingdale Community Cemetery. And, friends, I drove past this last year in the summer when I was trying to find a cemetery that was in derelict state that I could just show up and start cleaning. And that one happened to be the Seffner Cemetery. And, friends, it was in bad shape. It was in horrible shape. This cemetery actually has a board. They got a sign over there, and we're gonna call them here in a moment, friends. I want y'all to see it on the live. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate it. Miss Johnson, thank you so much. You know, I'll be honest with you. I had a lot of hate in the comments, and I used to never get comments. But I'm not angry at these people. A lot of people are fallen, so they get a lot of pleasure seeing a godly man suffer, you know? I was in Walmart after I did that funny 3-minute video, and the man that helped me buy the new mount for my truck, him and I had a good spiritual talk, and he's like, we're in the end times, and I sat there and talked to the man for 10 minutes, and he was a veteran, and he understands all of it. I told him, I said, look, I just got out of jail. I didn't do nothing wrong. I got an ankle bracelet. And the guy put his hand on my shoulder. He goes, well, we're all persecuted in the end times. And it's all true, friends. So, friends, we're going to leave that situation. We're going to leave it to the Lord, friends. That's all we can do. If I keep complaining on here, I'm going to get a violation, friends. I mean, I told you, these people are wicked. They're evil. Not my family, but the sheriff. They're fallen. So, look, friends, I'm out here in the cemetery. And unlike friends, this cemetery has a board of trustees that are in charge of it. And believe it or not, friends, they charge $30. If you want to bury your family out here, you got to pay $30 a year. It's the maintenance fee to have the guys, or I'm certain that they pay a lawn crew to come out here and clean it. And this place looks nice. I mean, everything's done the way it needs to be. But friends, I'm going to call them and see if I can put a bid out there. Friends, I'm not trying to steal business. I'm a ministry. So if these people... Here, let's just take a look real quick, and then we'll have to plug it back in. Friends, this is what I'm doing now. This is my task. This is my calling, okay? I have a ministry. I'm not going to come out here and charge these people $1,000 a month to clean this place up. What I would like to offer, and friends, I walked the property. I did a police call. And friends, this is a really nice cemetery. It's got a lot of oak trees, so these can be very concerning, during the storm season. Trees fall. But friends, what I want to offer these people, I want to offer to take over the maintenance. I want to do the mow job, the weed whacking. And I will come out here weekly because, friends, I told you, this is my new line of work. I can't work for the government any longer. They made that very clear when they removed me with prejudice, and that's why I got my lawsuit. So, friends, I'm going to call these folks here in a minute. We're going to do it on live. And look, friends, like little pieces of trash. Friends, this is what I do. I'm Mr. Attention to Detail. This is how I was able to catch the horrible people in the Bay Pines VA and the horrible people at the Tampa VA. But friends, what I'm going to do is offer them, and this is going to work out wonderfully because I have a 501c3. Look, friends, it's full of veterans, just like all these cemeteries. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I love this stuff. Last year my mother got on to me because I brought my children out to the Cedar Grove, hold on, let me see here. The Cedar Grove Cemetery. Friends, I found literally last year, hold on. We'll take a walk and then we'll make our call. Friends, last year God steered me to all these little cemeteries, and there's so many of them. And I just found the one that was in the worst shape, and that was Seffner. But I went out to Cedar Creek first, and I just got to work because literally the weeds were all grown. There was graves that were lost to time because the grass had just grown over. And I got to meet one of the deacons, and he says, look, we're old, and we got no help, and we got no money. So the guy mows it, but literally, that guy has like one more season, and then he's going to have to hang up the mower. Friends, I'm young. I'm fit. I don't drink. I don't drug. I don't do nothing. God plucked me out of the world to do this, friends. Look, I come out here once a week, and I'll just clean up all the debris. Now, friends, I don't know how much I would charge, but I'm not going to be charging. What I want to do and how the Lord set this up, I have a 501c3. That's something that, believe it or not, my wife and my mother-in-law, we're all on the board. So I don't know. I got to get them off the board now at some point. Because they're the ones that threw me in jail, friends. I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave them on there. Maybe we'll just leave it alone, friends. Again, my job's not to punish anybody. My job is to show people what the hell right and wrong is. And my job is to teach forgiveness, I pray that someday we can all come out of this horrible storm that we're in and all learn from it. And everybody gets spiritual. And then we can look back and say, wow, remember how difficult that time was? And now look where we are. We got 100 cemeteries we're doing. But friends, I'm going to offer these people. They don't have to pay me. Friends, they're probably paying $1,000. Every one of these plots is $30 a month, friends. Friends, I can't count how many. There's probably 1,000 graves out here. And per that sign over there, every family member has to pay $30 a year to have someone come out here and clean it up. So friends, they're making a lot of money. But then there's property taxes. This plot of land ain't free. And I'm certain that the people that own the property, I'm sure it's the church. That's why they get the tax write-off. That's why they do the cemeteries. But I'm certain there's a lot of taxes involved, and they have to do tax. Listen, friends, what I learned is every plot every plot's a deed. So every plot, you have to pay taxes on it. I guess I'm going to have to do a little more research. So the $30, like right here, friends, this little plot of land, let's turn this around. Hold on. Look, friends, this little 5x6 costs you $30 a year to have your family put out here. So, friends, what I want to offer is my ministry, and if I can get, if there's a way to get around all the taxes, friends, what I want to do is I want to offer them. You give me like a $200 donation a month. Wow, look at this beautiful lady. Isn't that sad, friends? Isn't this sad? Friends, this is why I can't stand the damn bickering and the quarreling with the family, and this is why I just gotta say, for the time being, y'all just work it out on your own. I've moved on. So, friends, with my 501c3, flip this around. With my 501c3, what I want to offer the cemeteries, you make a donation, whatever it is, whatever we agree upon, or maybe one month they want to donate a lot of money so I can go help feed the homeless folks. But on my website, I have a cemetery maintenance fund. So they can donate $150 a month, and then I will come out here and mow it. I will come out here and make sure the trees are all squared away. Friends, eventually, like, I'll climb up and get the trees trimmed up. And friends, I have friends that have their own tree business. So for like $150, $200 a month, that'll cover my fuel expenses. I'm not charging for my time because, friends, all I got is time. All I got is time, friends. I mean, we're going to be having a divorce here soon, most likely. So I'm not going to be around the children all the time. And God designed this way, everybody. When I went up to the Smoky Mountains, I was depressed. I wasn't depressed. I was distraught. I was like, why, God, why? And God says, my son, I've designed this so you can remove yourself from that horrible situation for a little while. Let things cool off. Let these people understand that maybe they have some soul searching to do. And I'm going to get you out here, and God's going to have some cemeteries for me. Friends, the weather's nice, and I love riding my John Deere tractor. I got my tractor. I got my trailer. I got all the weed whacking tools. I'm ready to go, friends. I got a Starlink so I can do my live streams literally out anywhere in a cemetery to just keep the awareness going. So, friends, I'm going to call these folks in a minute, and I'm just going to tell them we're the Grizzly Army Ministries Incorporated. We're 501c3. If you would like, I will give a bid to you. And I don't know if I can sign a contract because I'm a ministry of 501c3, but maybe we can have an understanding that each month they do a donation to the cemetery fund, $100, $50, $1,000, whatever it is. But I will come out here once a week, friends. I'll come out here once a week and clean it up. Friends, I'm not going to hang around my trailer until my lawsuit's done. And when my lawsuit's done, then I could maybe hire a company to come out here and do this stuff. You see, friends, I'm not upset that all these things happen. Yeah, it stinks. I do at times miss my old life. Hold on now. Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm glad y'all are there. Look, friends, again, I'm understanding that God has designed this little storm. He's designed it specifically for me. And I'm going to come out stronger and better. And believe it or not, this is my new job now. Like, he literally gave me my new career. I can't work for the government any longer. They made that very, very clear when they terminated me with all the prejudice. So again, friends, this cemetery is about... this cemetery is about half the size of Seffner. So it's Seffner's 5 acres. So this one's probably about 2.5, maybe 3. And it looks really nice. Whoever's doing it doing a really good job. But I want to offer them a donation. That way they're tax exempt. That way they don't have to deal with all the taxes, having to pay a company. I'm sure that they pay a company to come out here, and I'm sure it's a lot of money. So maybe they could take the money that they were spending on it. Maybe they can invest it in getting a new church, getting the church painted, or some other stuff. Hold on. All right, friends, this is the way it is. So friends, right now, unofficially, friends, I have 4 cemeteries that I help out in. I'm just gonna name them off to you. The first one I found was out there in Lithia. It's in Plant City, South Plant City. It's the Cedar Grove Church. That's the one that I found last year when I was going through this nightmare. And I just got to work. Nobody asked me. I didn't get permission. And then I met the folks that run it, and they were so happy I was out there. But then my wife and I reunited, and then I just was focusing on putting my family back together and doing everything that my wife wanted me to do. So the cemetery kind of slipped back into a state of decay, not decay, but it wasn't being done the way it needed to. But now I'm going to go back out there and I'm going to offer the same thing to the Cedar Creek Church. I'm going to say, look, if y'all pay me $50 a month through the donations, friends, they're not paying me, they're doing a donation to the ministry. That way I can have some gas and I can maybe, if they want to donate a little more, I can go get some shoes and some food for the homeless folks I hang out with. You see, friends, it's all about it's all about giving. When you let God be in control of things, he will design it in a way where everybody benefits, and it's all sharing the good news, the word. If we keep it grounded in the word, hold on, that might be a little better. If we keep what we do grounded in the word, God will bless us. I literally went to the yard sale guy and I got like $200 worth of gear for like $50. Oh, I appreciate it. So look, friends, we're going to call these folks, and it's a board of trustees, so they may say no. I don't know. I pray that they're a part of the church, and I'm sure they are. It's a Saturday, so they probably won't answer, but we're going to just call and leave a message, and they can call us back. So again, friends, when you do these type of things, you got to have your notebook. Look, I got my field notebook. This is the clipboard I had in the National Guard when all my soldiers were doing their PT test. So friends, when you do these things, friends, I'm a businessman. I ran a business, a sign shop. I was GS11 in the government. This stuff comes pretty easy to me. All the goofy Sgt Grizzlegrits, that's just goofy stuff. That's just how I've been handling my stress. So again, like, you want to write everything down. Friends, when I called Frank Strum, that was that clown at the Veterans Park, I did the same thing. I wrote it all down, and I was as professional as I could be, but he had no idea that I was recording his butt. And then, friends, then we got the protests going on. And friends, I can't do no more protests, but I don't regret doing any of that stuff. I mean, literally, that was in God's plan, and Mr. H.K. Edgerton has his civil rights lawsuit. I did call his attorney on yesterday. So we'll see, friends. I don't do this stuff for the money. I don't do none of the social media for all the likes and the clicks. If you go back and watch some of my older videos, like from a year ago, I got like two views, 5 views. Nobody cared, and that's fine, friends. I don't do it for that. I do it because I need it. And it helps with my mental health, friends. I mean, I am a master level. When I say master level trained, friends, I completed all the coursework for a degree in mental health counseling, a master's degree, friends. My undergrad's in psychology, University of South Florida. I graduated with almost a 4.0 from USF in 2016. I used the GI 911 bill, and then I used the vocational rehab, is it the Voc 32? To pursue my master's, and I was done. I did every course that you could ever do. I did all the stuff. I just couldn't do the practicum or the internship because of the pandemic. So look, friends, we're going to give these folks a holler. This is my personal phone that we're doing the live stream. This is my work phone. So we're going to call them up, and there's the sign. So it's the Bloomingdale Cooperative Community Cemetery. Friends, there's a headstone over there that fell down, and friends, I got the headstone up at Seffner. And that thing, the one that I got up at Seffner, was like 3 times the size of this one over here. And it's going to take a winch. But I don't have a lawn service. I don't have a route, and I just roll in here. And let me tell you something else about Seffner. The man, Sergeant Major J, the guy, that's not his job. He works for Tico. He's got a real job. He's got a wife, and he's got like 3 or 4 children. That man lives in Lakeland. So he drives all the way from Lakeland to do this as a favor. So I am pretty confident. God told me that when I go to the church later today and try to talk to the church, because I found out where the church is that owns the property, they're going to be more than happy to let me take over that job. And then now I'll have 2 cemeteries, officially, if these people let me do it. And again, they don't have to come out of pocket with money. It's a donation. So they're going to donate $100, $200, whatever they can afford. I just need a little money to cover my gas. I don't care about my time, because my time is not my time. It's God's time. And I love doing this stuff. I'm a 100% service-connected veteran. If we have to go divorce route, I'll pay child support. I'll do whatever I can, but I don't have the money to pay this lady what she's demanding. I mean, this lady makes three times the amount of money I do, friends. $120,000 versus like 50. I don't know, friends. I'm not going to worry about it. So look, let's give these folks a call and just see what they say. Friends, you want to kind of prepare before because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to stutter on the phone. You want to act, it's business. And friends, believe it or not, my mother taught me how to do these things when she was, friends, we just got to pray for these people. We just got to sneak and pray for them. All right, we're going to give these folks a holler. I'm certain I'll get a voicemail, but that's okay. All right, hold on here. Friends, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I will let them know about my ministry and my soldier, and maybe that I work for the VA, because people want to know why the hell you're calling them. All right, let's just see what's going on here. Oh, I got the... All right, here we go, friend.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing there? My name is Ron Messer, and I'm the owner of the Grizzly Army Ministries. I'm trying to find someone who's on the board of the Bloomingdale Community Cemetery. Are you the person?
I am the person. I'm Candy. What can I do for you?
Hey, Candy. Well, Candy, I have a ministry, and I go around and I clean up cemeteries, and I'm in your cemetery now. I was just kind of going around doing a police call. I was just trying to wonder who does the maintenance here, the mowing and all the maintenance, and trying to see if maybe I could put a bid in for y'all, because I do the Seffner Cemetery. I'm the guy that got that place up and running. It was in very derelict condition over the summer. I got like 3 other cemeteries in the area. I don't charge money. I have a 501c3 tax exempt, and people just do donations. And I noticed that y'all are pretty organized here. So I was just trying to see if maybe I could send an email, maybe kind of show a little bit about what we do in our ministry. I'm a veteran. I'm 100% service connected. I was in Afghanistan 2 times, and I love the history in these old cemeteries, and I grew up right here in Bloomingdale. So is that a possibility to maybe go before the board, or maybe send an email kind of explaining what I have to offer? I have all the equipment, John Deere tractor. I do tree trimming. I do it all, ma'am, and I don't charge a lot of money because I'm a ministry, of course.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you said your last name is Messer?
Messer. Do you know Messers?
Well, I grew up on Bloomingdale Road, so I'm just curious. I'm thinking.
Yeah. Ron Messer was my father, and I went to Bloomingdale High School, and I graduated in 1999. And my name's Ron Messer, Jr. So,
okay. What? You'd be the age of my kids.
Yeah, most likely.
Did your dad go to Bloomingdale?
He didn't. He went to Brandon.
Brandon. Yeah.
He went to Brandon. He was married to my mother, Arlene, and then they went through a divorce in 1994, and then they remarried. My mother still lives right across Bloomingdale High School, and I own a home off the other side of Bloomingdale behind Giles Road. So, born and raised here. Yeah, does
your mom live in Carter Oaks?
She does. Well, is it Bloomingdale Oaks off Carter Drive?
Bloomingdale Oaks, yes.
Yeah, that's
Bloomingdale Oaks.
Yeah, Arlene Waldron. Yeah. That's my mother. You probably know my mother, don't you?
The name sounds very familiar.
She's a business banker for PNC Bank. She's been in the community for a very long time. She ran for county commissioner like 20 years ago, and then a state rep, but ran against Rhonda Storms. But it was a very, very tight race, but it just wasn't in God's plan.
I do know that name. I recognize it. I don't think we are acquaintances, but I've heard the name for sure.
She's been here a while.
I also went to Brandon High School. I graduated in 71. So.
Oh, okay. Y'all probably went to high school together, because I was born in 1980, and I think her last name was Stevens, Arlene Stevens, and they grew up over there off Mikulski Avenue over there in Seffner.
No, don't know that last name, but and you said your dad went to Brandon also?
He did. I don't know what year he graduated, but I'm named after him. Ronald Messer is his name.
Yeah, I know the name Messer. And did he have sisters?
He did. Dorothy was his sister. Dorothy Messer.
Okay, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my Aunt Dorothy. Yeah. She was like a couple years older than him. I think she lives up in Knoxville, Tennessee now, and I hadn't talked to her in a while. But my father, he actually passed away in 2007. He was in an ultralight. Well, he was in a plane crash, an ultralight plane crash.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, it's all in God's plan. But yeah, I'm a Christian. Jesus removed my alcohol addiction 3 years ago. I've been on a spiritual journey, and believe it or not, I used to work for the Department of Veteran Affairs, but during that last horrible administration, they came after me with that diversity, equity, and inclusion, so they removed me out of my $90,000 a year job. I have a hostile work environment lawsuit pending, the judge, and I'm looking at a lot of money heading my way, like $300,000. So I started the ministry to kind of turn a tragedy into a nice success for the Lord, and he steered me to all the local cemeteries, and I just get a lot of peace out here. I used to work in all the mental health clinics. I worked with soldiers with PTSD, alcohol. I was on suicide prevention for 2 years, and I got a master's level training in mental health. I just wasn't able to finish my degree because of the pandemic, but all I do now is I just focus on my 3 children, and I just go to work in cemeteries. I just love cleaning them because there's so much history out here. And I'm
Yes,
looking around,
there is.
and y'all have so many soldiers. I see Confederate soldiers.
Yes.
And
Yes.
my task is to make our local cemeteries look better than Arlington, because if someone told me in one of my PTSD groups that I was running, my Vietnam guys, they say you can learn a lot about a community about how their local cemeteries look.
Absolutely.
And I didn't come by y'all cemetery last year because it just looked too good. So that's why I went over to Seffner. And Seffner was in a horrible, horrible state. And I worked all summer this past summer. I took like 10 trash loads of flowers to the dump. I trimmed all the trees. I got mowing. I got weed whacking. But I would love if we could meet. I would love to offer my services. I don't know how much y'all pay out here. I'm not looking for a paycheck, but I have a 501c3, so maybe it would be like a donation monthly or every 6 months. But I would come out here every week and mow it and clean it, because that's just what I do now.
Well, that sounds like an awesome ministry, and unfortunately, you should have come by last year.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we just hired a new maintenance crew. He's been with us maybe 6 or 8 months, and we're very happy with him.
Okay.
And it's one of his main accounts.
Sure.
And because of us, he was able to leave a job and go into lawn maintenance full time.
Oh,
So,
sure.
and everybody seems very, very happy with him. So
Yeah.
I doubt that they would. I mean, your offer sounds awesome. It really does.
Well, if you would like, if there's
so
an
I'll tell
email.
you what, Ron,
Yeah, please.
Why don't you send me an email?
Yeah.
We have a board meeting coming up in January.
Oh, wonderful.
And I certainly will present it to the group. I mean, I'm always open to, what everyone else wants to say and do. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
make that decision on my own. So my email, do you have something to write down?
Yeah,
with?
yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, it's I want to say he comes every other week, but I'm not absolutely certain of that. But
Well,
something like that.
I'll send a proposal. I'm not trying to take anyone's business, and I that's why I kind of skipped over the cemetery, because it just looks so good. But I would like maybe permission just to come out weekly, just to clean up little trash. I do police calls. I'm a military guy. I've been picking up all your moss. I got a whole trash bag full of trash, because the man, he'll come out here and do the mow job, but he needs someone to pick up the trash. That way he don't run it over, and the flowers fall down.
Right.
To me,
That's
it's
very true.
it's a partnership. I'm not trying to steal anyone's job, because God's given me everything I need with my disability check, and I'm waiting on the lawsuit, and I'm looking at $300,000 sometime between now and the summertime when this thing's all done. So I'm trying to find something positive to do to kind of help spread my ministry, and then maybe if a family member would like to donate a $20 here or there, but I would like to just come out here and just help assist, since you already got a good company out here.
Well, I will tell you before I say yes
Sure.
to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to give your phone number to Jamie
Yeah.
Cooley, who is also on the board. He has overseen the maintenance for a long, long time.
Sure.
So I would want him to talk with you
Yeah.
and work things out with you. I really don't.
No,
feel
of
like
course.
I could
Yeah, absolutely.
Make that statement,
Well,
So,
another thing I
but
do.
I will do that.
Another thing I do is another thing I do is
Send me an email. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, I'm sorry to talk over, but I level the headstones. That's what I was doing at Seffner. I noticed there's a huge headstone that got knocked over, and over at Seffner, I was able to lift like 1,000-pound headstone. I got it back upright. These are just things that I do because it helps me with my mental health. Being a combat soldier, and I notice your front gate's a little banged up. But little things like, just not like a handyman, but I mean, whatever the permission I can get. I would just love to help this place look like Arlington. That way everyone comes out here and they don't have to worry about a tree knocked over the headstone and the family don't have the money to get it back up.
That sounds great. Yes, there is a large woodsman headstone that is down,
Yeah.
and a company has been contracted to put that one back up.
Oh,
They
wonderful.
just haven't gotten out to do it, but yeah,
Sure.
they are coming out to do that. But I will give Jamie your phone number, and it'll probably be next week before he gets back with you, but he will give you a call.
Okay.
And that sounds really good. Now, okay, I'm curious, Ron. Tell me again what year you graduated from Bloomingdale.
1998.
Okay, you graduated a year after one of my boys,
What was your boy's name? I probably got in trouble with him.
Brett Martin.
Brett Martin. That don't sound familiar. I was in bands back then. You know, we did all the punk rock bands and surfed and skateboarded. It was such an innocent time, and I got 3 little children, and I'm terrified of the world that they get to grow up in. You know, it's just so evil now.
I know for sure. All right, well, it's been nice talking with you.
Yeah.
And wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And perhaps we'll meet in the future.
Before you go, if y'all want to check out my ministry website, it's thegrizzlyarmy.com. That's kind of like I do advocacy work. I got social media. I got a character named Sgt Grizzlegrits. And I've used the character to kind of bring attention to the VA and some other issues. And the character's pretty out there. He's intense, but I trust you. I'm a normal person. I just play the character on TV like Mr. T. You remember how mean Mr. T was?
I loved Mr. T.
So Mr. T was like one of my inspirations for the Sgt Grizzlegrits character. So it's thegrizzlyarmy.com. Check it out. And I got the donation link on there, and any information y'all need, like tax, all that, I can provide it. I'm just looking to help out. I'm not looking to steal anyone's job, but I'm just trying to stay occupied and just, keep myself busy and help the community.
And that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
It was good talking with you.
All right, we'll talk to you later, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Friends, I told you. Oh, yeah, 3 years. 3 years on that sobriety. Hey, look, friends, I prayed to Jesus about my sobriety. It wasn't really anything I did. I prayed to Jesus. I said, Lord Jesus, I need to be the man that you command me to be. I need to be a godly man. I need to be a man that's going to lead my children. Friends, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to judge this guy, but an old sergeant major of mine, we used to go over to his house and hang out and have parties. And his daughter was like 18 at the time. And she grew up in a home where every weekend we were over there partying and getting drunk. And I didn't like that, everyone. I remember saying, wow, if I ever have children, I don't want my children to see daddy just drunk and having parties. Friends, that's why I got out of the motorcycle clubs. That's why God allowed me to get out of these clubs. He slowly allowed me just to lose interest in it. And then I had to force myself to go hang out with the brothers. And then eventually I quit the club. And then a year later, I sold my Harley. And friends, like earlier in this year, I was literally playing Call of Duty, and it just wasn't fun anymore. And then other things just melted away. So friends, you heard it. They got a company, and I'm not in the business of stealing anyone's livelihood. But here's the deal. That's nice, because this lady was very cordial. She was a Christian. You could hear it. She knows my father, and she probably went to high school with my dad's sister. That's Aunt Dorothy. So friends, it all works out. I'm not trying to steal a man's company. And you heard the lady, because he got this contract. Friends, I'm sure this is $1,000 a month contract. I mean, look at all the graves. Every grave's $30 for the family. And I'm sure $5 of that goes to the maintenance. And this place looks really squared away. But what I want to offer the lady is I'll come out here once a week with my leaf blower, and I'll just blow all the debris. I'll straighten up the flowers. And there is a big headstone over there that got knocked over, and they already got a contract. Friends, it'll cost you $500 to $1,000 to have somebody come out here and do that. Now, friends, these people don't know me. They're going to check me out, and then, I'm not a business, so I don't have insurance. I don't have all the permits. I'm a ministry. But what I told her is I'm a soldier, and I love this stuff, friends. I love all the history. So maybe they'll give me permission to just kind of come out here and just help out, Friends, that way it helps the guy. Look, friends, here's a World War II soldier. Friends, this is all I want to do. I want to come out here and just clean up a little bit of debris. A couple trash bags. Friends, I don't own a lawn company. I own a ministry. So again, God did not want me to take this man's job. He's doing a good job, and these people all voted, and it worked out good for him. But look at all the soldiers out here. Like, I want to come out here and clean the headstones. You know, we can get all that granite cleaned up. Another soldier, Korean War, Purple Heart. But friends, my job ain't to take other people's jobs. My job's to come out here and do this right here. Just clean up a little bit of debris, And then, you know, if the family find out and they like it, well, then maybe they can donate $20. Look at this nice lady. Friends, there's a child. There's a child buried on the other side over there, and they have his picture. And he's a little guy. He was like 12 years old when he died, friends, and they got his photo over there. And he looks just like my son, friends. My son turned 7 in a couple weeks, and I'm not even allowed to be around my son, friends. Friends, I got an effing ankle bracelet on my ankle because this damn evil. And friends, when I told the gentleman at Walmart, you know, when we were having our spiritual talk, he goes, well, you know what happened to Jesus? What did Jesus say? And I said, well, Jesus said a lot of things. Tell me. He goes, in the end times, the Christians will be persecuted. And friends, that's what I showed him my ankle bracelet. I said, brother, I did nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing wrong. Look, friends, this is all I want to do. I come out here, I spend a couple hours, I just do a little cleaning, and then I mosey on to the next one. Friends, to me, this makes sense. You know, I had a real good talk with the lady. You know, I don't know what to say, friends. This is a spiritual journey. God steered me out to these cemeteries for a reason. I have peace out here. And, you know, when my children get older, they're going to come out here with me, and they're going to be a part of it. And then maybe their friends would want to come out here. Go hang out with Sgt Grizzlegrits in the cemetery. I mean, friends, in a couple years, you know I'm going to be like world famous. Hey, friends, y'all go subscribe on my channel. I need some more subscribers. Last year, I had like almost 500 subscribers, and then Google removed my channel. Well, the devil did it, but God allowed it to happen. Friends, I need y'all to subscribe to my channel, and I got another channel. It's called the Pinball Time Machine. I got a lot of funny stuff over there too. I need y'all to go over there and subscribe. Friends, the more people that subscribe, the message gets pushed out. And then more people can understand that when you're going through life's little storms, maybe you just go find a cemetery. Friends, you're not going to get in trouble for coming out here and picking up trash. Now, if I come out here with a lawnmower, they may ask what I'm doing. But friends, coming out here and picking up trash, look, friends, this is what I did today. I got some sticks. But friends, the guy that does the job here, he does the cemetery. The man does the cemetery, and then he also mows the he mows the church. And look, friends, looks like the pastor pulled up, so maybe we'll go over there and introduce ourselves. Again, friends, I'm not in the business of stealing other people's work. And when the guy at Seffner Cemetery, he knew somebody was out there cleaning it up for like a month and a half. And then he rolled in one day, and he rolled in real fast, and I was like, oh my goodness, we're going to have a problem. Because that guy's the guy that gets paid, and I've been out here doing his job. Like, he would roll in, and like it was already done, and he was scratching his head. But him and I had a real good talk, a real good spiritual talk, and the man told me he was 4 days sober, just like me, friends. You know, he kept promising his wife, this is the last time I'll be drunk. But for a lot of us, it's hard because it's an addiction, friends. It's not something that we choose. It's an addiction. And you can't just kick an addiction. You need maybe a little therapy. But friends, sometimes you just need to beg Jesus. And if it's in his plan, Jesus will take that addiction. Friends, when Jesus removed my addiction, it wasn't just the alcohol. He took my shame. He took my depression. He took my anger. All those things that go along with the drinking. And friends, sometime next week, I don't remember the exact date, but it was after Christmas and before New Year's Eve. It was like literally, I think it was January the 29th or the 30th. My wife had run off to my mother's house again for like the 100th time. Again, friends, I never laid hands on the lady. I never did none of those things. But she just didn't like being around me when I was drinking. And I get it. I didn't like being around me when I was drinking. But friends, I drink and drink all day because I had like a free pass. You know, the kids aren't around, the wife ain't around. So I just got drunk as I could. But I hit a point where I couldn't get any drunker. And I was drinking and drinking. And I was like sober, but I was drunk, friends. It's the weirdest thing. And then it was like 11 o'clock at night. I literally was in my living room and I said, Jesus, oh Lord, I can't do this anymore, Jesus. I said, I'll do whatever you ask me, whatever you bid, Jesus, I will do it. Friends, I had no idea I had no stinking idea that it would lead to this. Friends, you understand God created Sgt Grizzlegrits, right? You understand that that's not me. He used me as a tool. God used me to create this. Originally we did the Grizzly Ministries Fine Fish Tacos. And the whole point about that was I want to buy some food trucks down the road when I get my lawsuit money. And my food trucks are going to be one of my small businesses. And friends, once I'm done making a little money to buy the food and keep the business going, I'm going to go down to Ybor and I'm going to feed the homeless people fish tacos. Friends, when you get spiritual, I mean, when you decide to just say, okay, Jesus, I won't do it on my own any longer. Because we can't, friends, we can't. When you take that leap of faith and you just say, okay, Lord, I trust you. I understand it may get hard. But the stronger, every storm you go through and Jesus, and you don't repudiate them and you just get through that storm, friends, you get stronger and stronger as I'm explaining to you. Everybody, that's how I was able to go through the Orient Road jail. I went through the jail and I wasn't angry. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm in jail. Like, I can't believe I'm literally in a pod with a bunch of murderers and a bunch of drug dealers. And every man that I met that had an injunction, the guy beat the crap out of his wife, strangled the lady. One lady was in the hospital. The guy that was sitting next to me in the rack next to me, the man, he strangled his sister. And then his stepbrother shot him 6 times. The man was shot 6 times. This happened back in September. I couldn't believe how the man was alive and he was talking. He got shot in the head and the arm. It was a 32, a little tiny bullet. But the man swore to me that he didn't do nothing. Friends, I don't know. I don't want to judge the guy. But he did admit that he was smoking a couple bowls of marijuana. So friends, when we got drugs in our system, we're not in control of ourselves. But that man has had 90 days, and he had court on Friday. He had court on Thursday, and I didn't want to pray with the guy, but I prayed in my head that the Lord, you know, friends, it's hard to explain when you go to jail. I've never been to jail, not like that, friends. I had a DUI like 20-something years ago. 20 years ago, I got a DUI, and I was in and out of there. I never did anything in my life to be thrown incarcerated with no bond, friends. I mean, it's just a nightmare. An ankle bracelet on my ankle. But friends, you can make a choice. You can get angry and bitter, or you can just say, oh, Lord Jesus, okay, Jesus. You got my attention, Lord. I'm going to learn as much as I can. I'm going to go through the jail, and I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to pay attention to everything. I'm going to pay attention to the deputies. And friends, all the deputies in there that I met, the detention deputies, they were the nicest guys. I asked the one guy, I said, how come you're not on the streets? He goes, well, I was, but I didn't like the way they were doing things on the streets, so I came in here. And then I met another guy, the first guy, that was Deputy Ortiz. He says he can't stand the sheriff. And the guy's actually trying to find a job up in the Panhandle to get away from all the crookedness in the sheriff. These men were all spiritual, friends, is what I'm telling you. You can't go into a situation like being incarcerated and not feel the Holy Spirit. Friends, the Holy Spirit is in prison. Again, friends, all the disciples, I think every one of them, all the folks, all the people in the Bible, like almost all of them were unrighteously incarcerated. It's in the Bible, friends. So when I was going through this, I'm like, oh my Lord Jesus, I cannot believe that you allowed me to go through this. I wasn't angry. I don't want to ever have to go through that again, Hillsborough County Sheriff. That's why I'm begging y'all to get the hell off my back. I don't need no more heat from y'all. It's loud and clear. I'm not going to do no more protest on y'all. Y'all know that y'all are rotten. That's fine. We're just going to leave y'all alone. Friends, it was all harassment is what I'm telling you. God told me that it was all harassment. And it was a test, and friends, I passed that test. I passed it with flying colors. And not only that, friends, I made friends in there. Why don't y'all donate some money? Go to the Grizzly Army right now and donate some money, friends. I got to update the website. Because, friends, I got to send some goodies. I got to send some canteen funds to a couple of my friends that I met. It's called the I Care program. I think like $70, you can get them snacks for like a whole month. And listen, everybody. The 3 days that I spent in there, the 2.5 days, it was long, you know. I mean, there's nothing to do. You can play cards. You can go in the back area and do a little workout. And friends, it's literally like on the A&E shows. I was in there. I was in the general population. But friends, if you ever got to go through that, you just got to pray that God gives you endurance. I prayed for endurance, friends. I didn't pray that Jesus get me out of here. Oh Lord, friends, why would I do that? I'm spiritual. I understood God had me right where He wanted me. And I understood because, friends, I met like 5 guys. There was like 5, at least 3 men that really stood out. And these men were hopeless. In booking, when I was getting booked in there was a man that, like, he was just like me. He could not understand why he was there. And when I saw the guy, he was crying. He was lost. He was like, I don't understand why I'm here. And I was talking to my other friend, Mr. Alex, the guy I gave a ride. Friends, I gave a guy a ride home from jail. Isn't that cool? We Ubered in my truck at the courthouse, and then I got him back to his home. But friends, I saw the man was suffering. He was a black guy, friends. I don't care about color for the last stinking time. As long as you're a good person, or if you're even halfway good, give me something to work with. But I invited the guy over. We started chatting, and I spent the next 6 hours with the guy, just comforting him and just letting him talk. I did my mental health stuff on the guy. That's why the detention deputies were losing their mind. They're like, wait, the lieutenant says we got to harass this guy. And they did, friends. They threw me in the hole for like 4 hours because I was asking where my ID was. And the next thing I knew, I'm like, okay, we're going to the hole. And friends, when I was in the hole, I met another man, and he was the younger guy. He was a little kooky. I don't know, friends. Jail's a nightmare. And what I learned was a lot of people go there that don't belong there. Just like the Bible, friends. It's all about money. It's all about money. And if they don't like the medicine you're pushing, like Sgt Grizzlegrits, well, they're going to find a way to violate you. If they got some family members that aren't doing well, then they're going to trick them, and the next thing you know, you're in there. But friends, it was all in God's plans, what I'm telling you. Friends, it's all in God's plan. When you get to that spiritual level where you can understand that, friends, you don't have any more worry. Friends, I knew God was going to get me out of there. I knew that God was not going to let me just rot away in a jail for 90 days until a court appearance. I knew God was going to get me out there. And then God gave me the discernment, and he gave me the comfort to just say, my son, don't you worry about don't you dare call that bail bonds lady again. Yeah, you called her 20 times, and the lady said, don't you dare ever call us again. And lady, I'm so sorry. I was able to apologize to you yesterday. And we all had a good chuckle because they all knew who I was. I mean, I told the lady to go on my website. Everybody there knew who Sgt Grizzlegrits was, and they were all fans. Big John actually came out and shook my hand, everybody. I was so humbled. So humbled. Thank you, Mr. Big John. So look, friends, I got to go. We're going to roll. We're going to roll down. Friends, I got a couple more cemeteries to hit. But friends, it's about connections. You know, I don't want to take the man's job because the lady said that he was able to leave his other job because he got this account. I want to be the helper. I want to be the guy that comes out. If I know he's going to mow on Saturdays, I'll come out here on Friday and I'll pick up all the debris. That way the guy can just mow it and get out of here. And friends, that's called a blessing. Who knows? Maybe this guy will donate $100 because I'm helping him out. I don't know, friends. I don't do it for the money. I do it because that's what God tells me to do. I'm spiritual, you know. It breaks my heart that my family's not spiritual, friends, but that's a choice they made. They chose to choose the path of money, earthly treasures, earthly reputations. And that's why when Tommy Shannon called me last night, he didn't do this like my mother wanted him to do. He says, oh my gosh, Ronnie, I mean, welcome to the club. Oh, the club's small, but you're here. You've made it. And Jesus is coming back. That's what Tommy said. Tommy says, Jesus is coming back real soon. And friends, I feel it in my bones, you know. We'll never know because the Bible says that when the Lord returns, it'll be like a thief in the night, friends. You won't know. Friends, that's why I had to stop looking at the pornography. That's why I had to get off the Call of Duty games. That's why I begged Jesus to remove my alcohol. Friends, if Jesus had come back and I had been on a naughty website, friends, I would have been left. I would be left behind with a lot of y'all. And my children would have gone off to be with the Lord. And I would have separation. And I can't allow that, friends. Not with everything that I've overcome in my life. And I know a lot of y'all have overcome things too. Friends, life is not supposed to be perfect. Life is not supposed to be, you know, you work hard, you get your dream home, and then you just kick back and you retire. In the easy chair, sipping your toddies all day, watching football. Friends, that is not what the plan's supposed to be. Again, like I was explaining to my friend last night, because she's learning. My friends, I can't tell y'all everything. I'm not dating nobody, friends. It's a friend. But I told my friend last night that literally you can just exist. You can go to church a couple times a year. You can drive through the Christmas lights. And you can believe in Jesus. But friends, you'll still go to hell. You will still go. You'll get left behind. When we decide to follow Jesus and we decide to leave the earthly things alone, friends, it's running from evil. You got to run from evil. You can't turn to evil. Run into the courts to punish somebody, that's evil. Calling the perverted detective and doing an injunction for that's evil. That's running to evil because you're trying to punish somebody. It didn't work. It didn't work. I'm sorry. It just didn't work, you know. When I had to do that, I said, okay, Lord, okay, you know, these people were tricked. But you allowed it to happen, Lord, and I understand that. So we're gonna make the most of it, and I did. I met friends inside. I learned about the eye care program, friends. I got the name of the guy that runs the veterans groups in the jails, friends. I mean, how in the world would I've ever known that unless I had gone in there? And thank you so much, Detention Deputy Ortiz. I told you, that guy was so damn righteous. All right, look, friends, I gotta go. I could jibber jabber all day, but I gotta eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Friends, before I got incarcerated and arrested on Monday, I went by McDonald's and I bought like $20 worth of breakfast sandwiches for my homeless friends. And I did. I went out there and I tried to feed them, but I didn't know where they were. But friends, those yummy breakfast, friends, they were still waiting for me when I got out on Wednesday night, friends. And I had them that night. I had 2 for breakfast yesterday, and friends, I just had 2 today. I mean, am I gonna get sick, friends? I mean, I don't know. I'm just not like y'all. I mean, I want to like y'all. I mean, some of y'all are pretty cool. I mean, I like the nice comments. Look, friends, you got to start praying. You got to get that relationship with the Lord. The Lord, friends, that's the only way. He's the only thing. Friends, alcohol ain't going to provide you no comfort. The pornography ain't going to, this is going to, more shame, just wash all over your bodies, friends. Friends, when you give it to Jesus, it's going to get tough, friends. But friends, I've had no worry in almost 3 years. Friends, did you hear what I said? Friends, I've had no worry. I've had no depression. I've had nothing but the time of my life for the last 3 years. And look at what the devil's been trying to do to me. I mean, friends, the devil has given up on me a long time ago. That's why he's manipulating family members, because they're not spiritual. Friends, when you're not spiritual, the devil's gonna come get you. He's gonna come get you. He's gonna get you. All right, friends, I gotta go. I'll check in with y'all a little later on. Y'all stay groovy.